Marketing Specialist Showcase has begun.
This was terrible. This just sounds like a dumb movie. I'm sure there's plenty of podcasts working on this. So funny!
The following is a fan-off production.
They call me Alice in Wonderland. They try to lure me with a man. Go, oh, what do you know? Is that a rabbit hole? Oh, I gotta see where we go. So off with my head, fell in love again. You lose your head, you lose your heart, fall apart.
What's up, all you stars and studs? This is former WWE Diva and current First Lady of Ring of Honor, Maria Kanellis, and I am here with my co-host, my fiancé, Ring of Honor star, Michael Bennett.
Yo!
Was that like a spooky... I'm from the Ghostbusters, and this is how I say hello? That's terrible.
Oh, I was trying to not sing the theme song because I was singing it in my head, and that's really all that came out was, yo, because I wanted to say, off with my head, I fell in love again, illusion. Sorry.
You sound like you're from Britain, like one of the British queens or something.
Off with my head. Hello,
yes.
Governor.
Just
Cheerio.
like that. Exactly like that. Uh-huh.
Hello.
Thank you. That's fabulous.
Fabulous.
Dude. Oh my goodness.
Yo.
So
Dog.
we just dog.
You said yo, so I said dog. And then Popcorn looked at me.
Popcorn the dog.
Popcorn's my brother's dog. He's looking at me and shaking his butt at me. Don't you shake your butt at
speaking
me.
of that, is Popcorn very happy that your brother is back in town?
I think so. I don't know. He didn't see him very long. Then my brother took off to Chelsea. So he seemed happy.
So then he was just confused.
I'll tell you who wasn't happy though. Zeus was not happy. Zeus was very mad. Zeus is one of our long-haired chihuahuas, by the by.
Uh-huh.
I'll tell you why he was mad, because John and his girlfriend, when they stayed here, they stayed in my room. So they shut the door before Zeus could go up to bed. And Zeus always sleeps in my bed. So he slept outside the door all night. And he was pissed. He told me.
I think you
he
just
came
invented that. Yeah, exactly. You're just inventing things now.
No, this happened. He came down. I was sleeping on the couch, and he came down, and he said, Mike, check it out. I tried to go in our room, and your bro and his girl were sleeping, and they shut me out. And I said, well, go knock and ask them politely. He said, I tried, and they put me on my ass. So he slept on the couch with me.
Well, I'm sure he was happy then when he got to sleep on the couch with you.
No. Couch is too little for him.
Oh, he needs the whole bed.
Needs the whole bed. He was pissed. True story.
Sounds like somebody else.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I need the whole bed, and the
sounds
dogs.
like you. That's you. I have like a little sliver. So this is what takes place. We have 3 dogs. And usually 2 out of the 3 sleep with us, right? Jem and Zeus. And what happens is the 2 dogs that are no bigger than, God, I don't even know what to compare them to. A basketball? Well, how big are they? What?
They're about the basketball size, yes.
Yeah, basketball, but in a chihuahua size. They take up like 50% of the bed. And then Maria takes up 48% of the bed, and I get 2% of this little sliver, and I am just curled into a little ball, and I try to not fall off the bed. And then she hits me and rolls over and then takes all the covers and puts herself in a cocoon.
I take all the covers, but I do not hit you. You are the sleepy hit one. You like to elbow people at night.
No, sometimes you hit me while I'm sleeped in a little cocoon. You beat me up.
We should ask our people that listen, like if they are the person that gets most of the bed, or if they're the person that gets a sliver of the bed, and how much do they care?
And who gets most of the covers? That's what I want to know.
Well, you don't even like covers.
You take them all on me.
You don't even like them though. Like
I don't. You don't know if I like them or not because you take them. I don't have a chance to decide.
No, you don't.
You've
like
decided
them.
for me. You have told me I don't like covers. You've brainwashed me to believe that I don't like covers.
No, it's because you're 5,000 degrees when you sleep. So
sometimes I need something to throw off of me.
That would be the cover. So you throw them off, and then I have them.
Then sometimes in the middle of the night, I like to throw them off me again. But they're nowhere to be found because I look over, and in a little cocoon is my beautiful butterfly. See what I did there? See what I did? I brought it full circle.
That was fantastic.
Right,
what
Zeus?
happened to the caterpillar?
He's gone.
He's gone.
He's in his cocoon. Now he's a butterfly.
So we haven't really talked about this, but how did you enjoy being back in Los Angeles? This past week, we were in LA. We did a bunch of meetings in LA, and then we went straight from there to San Diego. You loved it? You miss it?
I do. I don't know. It's fun. Things are happening there. It's alive. I feel like I'm being productive even when I'm not being productive. So that's why I like it.
Well, this time, though, it wasn't even like there was a moment to be not productive. It was just constant. Like, we went from one place to another. We were in Beverly Hills. We did this awesome morning podcast that was running errands that was really cool that I had never thought of before, but it was awesome, which should be up soon, and I'll tweet it out as soon as it is online.
Cool.
Is that okay? Is that cool?
Yeah, I say cool.
Beans?
Cool, man.
Rock
and roll.
We were in Beverly Hills. We went up to, we were on North Hollywood. It was just craziness. It's like a totally different world. It really is.
What, Hollywood or LA or all?
All of the above.
It's like its own planet sometimes.
It really is.
I feel like everyone, I don't know how to explain it. Like I said, it just feels like everyone's doing something. Everyone's on a mission. I feel like everyone's on a mission. Even the hobo on the street is on a mission to get money and drink. That's what I feel like.
But when I go there, I like to invent little stories. Like, even about the hobos. I like to pretend like they have this fantastic script that they're just waiting and sitting on. And finally, when the right person comes along, they're going to sell that script and they're going to be a multimillionaire.
You were picking out all the people that you were saying. You were like, and that person is probably going to be a world-class dancer, and that person is a world-class trapezius. And then you were like, and that person bakes the best cookies on all the East Coast. And then you were like, and then that person's going to write a movie about a ballet dancer who also makes cookies and also is a trapezius. And I was very confused.
That is not what I said at all. But I was inventing.
It was close to it.
No, I was inventing stories about every person that I saw on the street, though. Because I find that so incredibly interesting about Hollywood, is that you could go there and meet the right person that meets the right person that makes you, like, super famous.
Gonna make you a star, kid.
Gonna make you a star. You gonna be a big old star with your lights up and big old light names. What? No.
What? What did you say?
Snorty Snorts!
That was Zeus, I swear.
That was not Zeus.
I have the burps right now because I just ate dinner.
Thanks
Sorry,
for that.
I can't help it. I'm trying not to burp.
On this podcast, we talk about bodily fluids far too much.
When I try not to burp, then I make
or bodily functions, not fluids.
When you're wondering like why my voice drops like 10 octanes, it's because I'm trying not to burp. So I'll be like,
octanes,
we
gasoline.
What is the word then?
Octaves.
Octaves.
Yes.
Dr. Octopus.
No. Oh my goodness. I
I'm gonna
don't
look
even
it
know
up
a
on my
Dr. Octopus.
I'm going to look it up on my phone.
Decibels.
Octonauts? Octanes. Octaves? Octaves for MATLAB? No.
What?
What's an
What
Octaves.
are you looking at?
Yeah, I was right. What did I say? Octane? I meant octave.
Yes. I
Octave.
know. Octave.
Octaves is music pitch.
Yes.
I looked it up on Wikipedia, so it must be true. Has to be true.
Most definitely true.
You're not
What?
real.
I'm totally real. I'm right here.
I can't.
And then we had the show in San Diego.
San Diego.
How did you
Wills.
like the show in San Diego?
I loved it. I got to wrestle my buddy Lance Storm. Ever heard of him?
He's never been on our podcast ever.
I got to wrestle him, and again, the fourth time is always the charm. It was a great match. I love working Lance. He's getting the chance to wrestle him 4 different times has probably been the best, the most memorable, and my most favorite part of my career up to date.
What the heck?
Sorry, why? What else?
I don't know. Just over here by myself, that's all.
But you're my fiance, and when I marry you and you become my wife, then that'll be the greatest moment of my life. But I'm talking about my career.
Yeah, well, I just thought, us working together would be one of your favorite parts of your career, but whatever. That's cool.
Someone's a little testy tonight.
Testy? No.
Testes. Someone has testes tonight.
Ew.
See what I did there?
No.
I took the word testes and I gave you balls.
Ew.
What?
Was it nice seeing everybody that was there this weekend?
It was. Don't try to change the subject. We're talking about human testicles right now.
Why?
Because it's fun. Because I am a child and trapped in a 29-year-old's body. And I can't get out. I feel like the movie Big.
Yeah?
Yeah. I can't get out. I'm in a glass case of emotion.
See, I don't really know where to go with the whole testes thing.
You
there's
can,
nowhere to
actually.
go.
We've peaked.
They've already
Our testes-
dropped,
our
and now
testes have
that's
peaked.
it. That's it.
Our testes have peaked.
No, mine was so much better. They've already dropped, which is such a better thing to say than they've peaked. If we were talking about boobs, then peaked would be perfect. But we're not talking about boobs. We're talking about testicles. And what do testicles do? They drop. Why do I have to tell you this? I thought you were a man, but apparently yours haven't dropped. See what I did there? All the way around. Thank you.
I'm not talking to you now.
That's because I got the better of you. It was lovely seeing everybody this weekend. I thought that Candice Michelle looked fantastic. It was nice hearing about her family and her children, and she was wearing a very cute top that I was obsessed with, and she even did a little something on the show. And it was really nice seeing her, and I saw Barbie Blank, also known as Kelly. She looked beautiful. And we saw Tommy Dreamer, who Tommy Dreamer talks like this, and you don't really know if he's really happy or not. And that was fun. Nothing. Not going to join into my fun conversation about all the peeps.
I'm just over here waiting for my balls to drop. That's all.
Oh, that's never going to happen.
Once they drop.
What is that?
I'm trying to push them out.
Ew. Did you like sitting there listening to the guys talk about, like the old schoolers talk about everything?
Of course I did. Can I tell my favorite story of the whole weekend?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so we were signing autographs in the back locker room because that was part of the autograph signing. And also on the show was Ric Flair. And so Maria was in the back, and I was sitting next to her. because I had already finished all mine, and she was signing her Playboy pictures, not her Playboy covers, but her Playboy pictures, which were the naked ones. And Maria, being the very respectful lady that she is, likes to sign those in private. So that's why we were in the back. Now, anyways, as we're back there, Ric Flair comes back from doing his autograph signing with the public, and he sees Maria, and he loves Maria to death. And he starts screaming, "There she is! Oh, there she is, my favorite person! Woo, 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 woo!" And then all of a sudden he goes, "What are you doing there, Maria?" Not knowing what she's signing. He goes, "What are you doing, signing your Playboy cover?" And as he does that, he looks down and sees that she's signing nude ones. So he goes, "What are you doing, Maria? You're signing your Playboy." "Oh, I was not expecting that. Woo, woo, woo. Sign one to the Nate. Woo." And then he walks away. "Make sure you make one out to the Nate," is what he said, followed by a woo, woo.
Uh-huh.
And that was the most amazing thing that ever happened. That was unbelievable.
I personally really liked listening to Rodman and Ric Flair exchange war stories.
That was unbelievable. But speaking of great stories, I believe our guest has called in. Tonight we have on a good buddy of mine who's a manager on the independent wrestling scene, specifically in New England, and he has a new book coming out that he's here to talk about. Mr. Sean Gorman, are you there?
Yeah.
What's up,
going?
buddy? Oh, it's going.
Hey, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
We were just telling Ric Flair stories from the weekend in San Diego. So,
shit, I didn't hear it. What happened? Anything good?
Oh, it's great. I'll tell you it again real quick. So Maria was signing her Playboy pictures in the back locker room. So they were actually naked pictures, but she signs them in the back. She signs them in the back because she's a respectful lady or whatever. And Ric Flair comes around the corner after doing his signing in the public, and he sees Maria and he gets all excited and he's like, "Hey, there's Maria!" Oh, and then he says, not knowing what she's signing, he goes, What are you signing? Your Playboy covers?" But before he can say that, he looks and sees the naked pictures. So he goes, "What are you signing? Your Playboy?" "Whoa! Make sure you sign one of those out to the Nate. Woo, woo, woo!" And then he walks away.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tremendous. That's great.
So that's Ric Flair on TV and in real life.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like me.
Yeah, exactly. So why don't you, for all our listeners, I mean, I've known you for a while, but why don't you explain to all our listeners, what you do, who you are, where, I told them that you've been managing. How long have you been in wrestling?
Shit, it's hard for me to answer that question because I left and came back.
Right.
But I'm going to say in totality, probably about 10 or 12 years. Yeah. So by the way, before anyone clicks off or tunes out because they're like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" I don't want to listen to him. I don't know who he is. My name is Sean Gorman. I've been a manager in New England, and I am a dinosaur because I'm a manager who's actually good, even though I never.
Uh-oh.
And you should read my book, even though you might not know who I am.
You should definitely read this book.
Yes, thank you. And before any of you worry that there's no quote-unquote stars in the book, I will tell you that Tommy Dreamer, Roddy Piper, Nikki Rocks, Jim Neidhart, and diehard Edward Edwards all are in the book.
Look at that list. What? Now, is it just all about wrestling, or is it about your life, or is it just your life in wrestling?
Well, this is the thing, and some writers will try to come off as like smart, and they won't tell you what like the theme of the book is.
Right.
I'm not that smart, but I really am. But I'll tell you what the theme of the book, and maybe both you and Maria can relate to this, is how wrestling changes you as a person. In other words, like the person that you were when you first stepped into that ring is not the person that you are today.
Right.
I mean, can you relate to that on any level?
I can. Can you, Maria?
Yes and no. I think that age has given me a lot more life lessons. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's because it's wrestling or because it's just life.
Right.
Definitely learned a lot being on the road. Holy cow. You learn how to be by yourself all the time. You learn how to travel. You learn how to deal with politics and the nature of the wrestling beast. But I still think that I'm very, very similar to the person that I was when I was growing up in that small town, middle of nowhere. I just know a lot more.
Without giving away the whole book or the whole story of it, can you pinpoint any moments where you feel like you've changed, or any experiences where you feel like you've changed compared to when you first stepped foot into a ring?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I guess I relate to Maria in the sense that I was a shy, introverted kid from a small town.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess the person I am now was always in me, but wrestling brought it out of me.
Right.
And then so it's just I'll be honest now, I'm much more arrogant than I ever thought I would be, because, you become a big fish in a small pond and you're like, hey, I'm the fucking shit. But, then reality sets in and you're just nobody really knows who you are. I've been recognized maybe 3 times, in a movie theater and at a restaurant and stuff like that,
Right.
But really I have this quote by Nathaniel Hawthorne, right, at the beginning of the book. And I will read it to you because it's brief.
Sure.
But it goes like this. It goes, "No man for any considerable period can wear one face to himself and another to the multitude without finally getting bewildered as to which may be the true." Oh. So it's interesting because the whole purpose of professional wrestling is to blur the line between fantasy and reality.
Right.
So you end up who am I? You know what I mean? Am I famous? Am I not famous? Am I this fucking asshole in the ring, or am I not? So yeah, the book is a memoir, and it parallels, my personal life with wrestling and how the two intersect, and how I got from point A to point B.
Yeah. Go ahead, sweetie.
How does your family feel about you being in wrestling?
It's actually, I dedicate the book to my mom because she hated wrestling. She fucking hated wrestling. She would walk in the room. Remember when Roddy Piper shaved the Haiti Kid's head before WrestleMania 2? He shaved his head into a mohawk. I'll never forget this.
Yeah.
She walked into the room while that was happening, and she hit the fucking power switch on the television, and she goes, "I hope you're not learning anything from this. Go outside." But of course, yeah, right, which is understandable for a mother. But as time went on, and I actually got relatively successful in New England, she would tell all her friends about it, and she came to 2 or 3 shows. It's definitely still not her deal, but she's proud of me, so that's nice.
Right. Mm-hmm. How long have you been wrestling for?
Well, I'm not a wrestler.
Well, how long have you been in wrestling? I always refer to wrestling. We all, wrestlers, managers, referees, we're all involved in this crazy, wrestling world. So it's all wrestling to me. How long have you been involved in wrestling?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I left for a while and came back. So I guess in totality about 10 to 12 years. I started in the late 90s, but then I kind of went away for a while and I came back. But yeah, and when I came back, that's when I started managing diehard Eddie Edwards for all you Ring of Honor fans listening. So if you're interested to know what Shitty, as we call him here in New England,
Shitty's his nickname. That's right.
That's fact. If you're interested to know what Shitty was doing prior to Ring of Honor, you should definitely Amazon.com and buy my book.
Does Eddie Edwards make a lot of cameos in the book?
Yeah, he does. He's definitely a main character because, it was he and DC Dillinger and me. That was at the time when there was a merger between these two companies here in New England, and we were running shows Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. It was a crazy time in my life, and it was important for me to write about it. So yes, Eddie Edwards is definitely a main character. So is Nikki Roxx, because she was coming up at the same time. Some people listening might know her better as the Voodoo Queen, Roxy Laveau. And that whole That whole clusterfuck is is talked about in the book. Something that a lot of people might not know about me, though, is I actually have a degree in creative writing. So,
oh, cool.
Lest anyone, and I was finally able to use this useless degree. So, in case anyone thinks that the writing is not good, I do have, some experience in the field.
Some credentials. So, what made you want to get involved in wrestling?
Well, I am next Friday. I will be 37 years old, and which means that I grew up in that golden era of managers. I grew up watching, Bobby Heenan, Jim Cornette, J.J. Dillon, and it's really a travesty now that male managers are just not used anymore.
Right.
Because they can be so useful in the business. In so many ways. And I know that it's moved, as Maria knows, it's moved predominantly to the female side. But as Bobby, female managers are, but they often can't take bumps, They can't get decked by a big dude, which is an important part of being a manager. So, I was skinny, I was 6 feet tall.
You're cutting in and out on us. Uh-oh.
I'm sorry. Uh-oh.
No, are you
That's
still
okay.
there? We go.
There you go.
Okay, I moved towards the window. All right.
Move
Anyway,
towards the light.
so I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said move towards the light.
I'm actually moving towards the darkness. I'm moving towards the window. So anyway, I was 6 feet tall and like 140 pounds, and I just knew that I didn't have the build to be a wrestler. But I never really wanted to be a wrestler. I mean, I really just wanted to be a manager. I had a big fucking mouth, and I was a skinny dude, and so I just always wanted to be a manager.
Who was your biggest influence growing up? Was it Heenan?
Definitely Heenan, because I mean, let's face it, he was the fucking man in the 80s, right?
He was the best.
But from a performance standpoint, I actually learned a lot from J.J. Dillon.
Right.
Because as a kid, I remember like watching NWA and thinking to myself, like, by the way, not to like burst anyone's bubble, but there was never a time in my life where I thought wrestling was legitimate. I just didn't. Like, I don't know. Like, it was always drilled into my head. Like, my mom was like, this is fake, right? I'm like, okay, I get it. I still like it.
Right.
But
it's a TV show.
Exactly. But, like, I remember watching J.J. Dillon and thinking to myself, like, well, this might be, fake, quote unquote, but I think that guy is really a manager. He seems really legit. Like, he just carried himself like a businessman. You know what I mean? And so when I actually started becoming a manager, like, I watched a lot of his stuff because he just seemed legitimate to me, and that was important.
Yeah, I've always we did a Dreamer show this weekend, and they had a panel do like this Q&A, and it was like Bischoff and Ron Simmons and Gangrel. It was just a random mix, but I remember at one point one of the fans just randomly asked, the question he asked was one word to describe Bobby Heenan, and they went on for like minutes and minutes. They couldn't give just one word. They all just put him over to the moon, like he was the greatest thing in professional wrestling. And I think managing is the lost art. Like, Bobby Heenan was so good at what he did, and I think now more than ever, because guys don't master the craft of a really good promo. They're so focused on their moves and their in-ring work that I feel like the promo is almost a lost art, and I feel like if some guys had someone who could talk, they would benefit greatly from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the whole point of a manager. If there was a guy who was very sound in the ring, they'd give him a manager if he couldn't talk, and the manager would talk to people into the building. The other benefit was, like, a manager very often managed the champion.
Right.
Because that way the heel champion could go over in the main event, but then the manager would get bumped, and everyone would go home happy, even though the heel retained the title.
Right.
That's hugely important. Speaking of Tommy Dreamer, and that's the scene in the book, I did a show with Dreamer. I was managing Brian Fury, and he worked Dreamer. And we got backstage, and it was a huge compliment. He looked at me, he's just like, "Man, you're really good." And he's like, and his exact words were like, "Managing is such a lost art." And he's just like, It's too bad it wasn't, 20 years ago. I'm like, oh, great, thanks.
Yeah, right. Seriously. Well, thanks. And territories are dead. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the book probably ends like currently, maybe like 2012 or whatever, where if you were to write like maybe a sequel, sorry, I can't pronounce the word, sequel, where would you like to see your career head from this point on? Do you still have, dreams of going to WWE or Ring of Honor or where would you like to see the second book take you?
Yeah, well, here's the thing, and I don't know, everyone who I personally know, and I won't mention any names, who has worked for the WWE, their general consensus is if you want to fucking hate wrestling, go to the WWE.
Yeah,
so I'm not entirely sure that's where I want to go. I have a really good career outside of wrestling. I am not one for money.
Right.
But I gotta tell you, and I'm not just saying this because you guys are in Ring of Honor, but I would fucking love to work for Ring of Honor because I think that Ring of Honor combines the old school and the new school, which is something that I've always tried to do. Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you, those fans, I think I could play those fans like a fucking fiddle because I kind of like legitimately hate those fans. It's kind of coming from the heart.
Right. They're a tough crowd. They are a tough crowd.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think I know how I could get a rise out of them.
Oh, absolutely.
Even before I got into wrestling, I kind of always hated wrestling fans. Like, we would, no, seriously, we would go to, my friends and I would go to ECW shows, and some dickhead would come up and he'd be like, dude, you remember when Jake the Snake put the snake on Andre and he had a fucking heart attack? That was fucking real.
Yeah.
And I'd turn to my friend and go, man, I love wrestling, but I hate wrestling fans. So, being a heel for me was like a lateral transition.
Yeah, I think just being in Ring of Honor too, the cool thing is, they have Truth Martini, so I can't even think of anyone in WWE who besides Paul Heyman, but he's an extreme case. But Ring of Honor to me would be a company that still utilizes male managers, and it's good because there are a lot of guys in Ring of Honor that do need help talking or do need help cutting promos. They're amazing in the ring, but and the fun part is we get a lot of input on what we do, and I think that's what's cool, and I think that's where maybe you would probably thrive the best is because we get a lot of input on what we say, what our promos are. We get a brief description of what we want, but what they want, but then it's like, now go to the have fun with it. When you cut your promos, do you pre-plan them ahead, or are you kind of like, this, just give me what I need, and then I'll kind of improv it?
Yeah, it's just I kind of do it, I guess, the way that the WWE did it for many, many years, which is just give me the bullet points.
Right.
Just tell me what you need me to say. What you need me to hit. Like the go home promo, just say the date again and again, say the building again and again. And then the rest, like, that's the thing, I've always been really, really good at, like, public speaking as well. Like, I actually, this is going to make me a total nerd, but, like, I won a student council award for public speaking in high school. It's just something I was good at. Right. Yeah, fucking A. I was a nerd. I'm not, whatever. No, it's just, and, like, I'm just, that's, I never wanted to be a wrestler, so I just kind of put all my eggs in one basket. I just hyper-focused on the promo. I got to get these fuckers to see this match, you know what I mean? And to hate me, to hate the guy I'm managing, and to really like the other guy. I like the psychology of that. That gives me a hard on, you know what I mean? Like, that's what gets my gears going in wrestling, you know what I mean? I love that. As the promo, I mean, let's face it, the promo is that's what gets people into the building,
Absolutely.
That's what gets people to buy tickets,
Yeah. I think it's such a lost art in wrestling because, the actual in-ring wrestling right now, I think is probably the best it's ever been. Like the athleticism and the ability to make people like get out of their seats and go crazy. Like it's at an all-time high. But I feel like the idea of good versus evil and storytelling, and more importantly, promos of getting over these characters is completely lost. And I feel like if we could find somehow to mix the two together and get these guys who can do all this crazy stuff, get them to be able to cut promos or give them a manager, I feel like wrestling would just blow up again.
But isn't
Oh,
that
yeah,
why
absolutely.
they gave Paul Heyman to Cesaro? I mean, isn't that at the end of the day what they're trying to do there? And I think that there are opportunities for that. That's why guys like Bray Wyatt shine, and that's why they're at the top of their game right now. And I do think it can be mixed together. It's just the right person at the right time with the right opportunity. It's not necessarily that it's not out there, because I do think that there's guys out there like Kevin Steen who could cut a great promo and he's incredible in the ring. Like there are guys like that, or an Adam Cole who can do both.
Right.
It's just, the right person at the right time. And they do give managers to people that need them. And,
yeah, but I don't think they do it enough.
They don't do it enough. They don't.
There's so many guys out
there. When I was a manager at WWE, I had to stand in a certain corner for the entire match. Is that what I wanted to do? No. What I wanted to do was get involved. What I wanted to do was to be a scary Sherry, or to be a real manager. I didn't want to just be a person that was standing in a corner looking pretty. That's great and all. But that's certainly, I mean, at the end of the day, there's a million pretty girls out there. If you have a personality, if you can talk, that's one in a million.
Yeah. Well, are the well, Maria, I guess you would know this. Are the promos in WWE totally scripted?
It depends on who you are. Some guys are top to bottom, some guys are top to bottom just because they need it, or maybe because they're not in the upper echelon yet. And some guys aren't. I mean, there was times that me and Cena, we would play back and forth with stuff. And then there was other times when it was a new guy coming up. I mean, he basically had to say exactly what he was going to say.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think, I mean, who could have scripted Dusty Rhodes? You know what I mean? Like, what Hollywood writer was going to come up with that? Or Roddy Piper? You know what I mean? Roddy Piper.
I don't necessarily think, I don't think it's the writers either. Like, I honestly think that there has been some great writers in the WWE. There have been some great writers that I would sit backstage with at WWE that had incredible ideas. I don't think that's the case. I think that a lot of times that the leashes are kept too short and aren't long enough for people to grow. Because a lot of people want to do that. They want to put it on the writers. Oh, these Hollywood writers, blah, blah, blah. That's not the case. Some of these writers are still my friends today, and they are writing incredible stuff outside of wrestling that could have been within the company, but they just didn't have a long enough leash to be able to do so.
Right. Corporate office.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we ask all our guests this, even if they're not wrestling people. If you could change one thing about wrestling right now, what would you change?
Well, I think that's what we've been talking about for the last 20 minutes, right?
Right. Yeah.
Bring managers back, because I would love to have like a full-time career in wrestling, but I'm at the point in my life, like I said, I'm 37. I have a great job outside of wrestling. I love it, and I do well. So I kind of have a take or to leave it attitude, which is, I think, another reason why I wrote this book. Because I'm like,
What are you doing? What are you doing outside of wrestling, if you don't mind me asking? What is your real job, as we put it?
Yeah, no, dude, wrestling pays my bills. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Wrestling is your other job. Yeah, it's a fake job.
Yeah, no, I actually, for a long time, well, I started during the summers I was in college. I worked for a pest control business.
Oh, cool.
And it's a very small company, but we're in a very wealthy area. Right. So, I literally will get paid $300 to step on an ant.
An awesome job. You should get a magnifying glass and just burn them all.
That's terrible. What are you, 5?
I am. I'm in wrestling. I have to be 5. That's my mentality.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But the thing is I get a lot of time off in the wintertime, and that's when I wrote this book. It took me about 2 years to write it. So it was cool. Actually,
what's the name of the book again? What's the name of the book again?
The name of the book is Until We're Strangers Again, a memoir.
Okay.
And, it's available on Amazon.com. And writing a memoir was actually, Maria, I have to tell you that, a lot of people say they don't watch the WWE, but then they secretly do. I legitimately don't, so I had to Google your name about a half hour ago. And
Yeah,
I saw that you post, huh?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, and I saw that you post for Playboy, and I was just like, wow, Maria and I kind of have something in common, because writing a memoir is like exposing your life to the world. And
Yeah.
Maria kind of exposed herself to the world as well. And I was actually having a lot of anxiety. Like when the book first came out, I was like really fucking nervous. And did you feel that way before your Playboy spread came out?
Well, I also write as well. I've written for NBC, and I've also written for Diva Dirt as well. And I did a blog every week for NBC when I was on Celebrity Apprentice. And when I did that, I did feel very open to the world, and I did feel like I was kind of showing my soul to the world. So, you know, I definitely can feel you on how it is with writing something that's very special and close to you.
Right.
And making that feel like a part of your soul that you're putting out into the world.
Yeah, it's rough, man. I didn't think I was having like serious panic attacks. Like the first week the book was released, I was like, oh my God, like people are going to know about me now.
Yeah, no,
But-
it's kind of like just throwing yourself out there to the wolves. And it's kind of like wrestling. I mean, you go out there and you put your body on the line, and then you hope the people will like it. And most times they usually hate it, in my case.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
So-
like you're literally going out in your underwear in front of a crowd of people.
Yeah, no,
Fucking A. You know, it's like, wow.
Go figure. That's what I chose for my life.
Yeah, right, huh?
So
Where are you guys right now, by the way?
we're in two different places, actually. I'm in Massachusetts, and Maria's in Chicago. So
Right on.
we Skype over this, and then we have people call in. Yeah. So it's
cool.
It's interesting. We don't see anybody. We don't see each other. We just pretend
Yeah.
that we're actually in the same place.
Well, it
So,
sounds like we're all in the same room. Let's just
Yeah,
kayfabe
no,
it.
it's really cool. So
Yeah. Hey, Maria, you look great.
where can people find it? Amazon? Is that what you said?
Yep, Amazon.com, Sean Gorman, Until We're Strangers Again. Like I said, and just if you want to hear some of the more crazy parts, I snort cocaine off a girl's tits and I desecrate a grave.
All right. So if you were into that, go to Amazon.
Yeah.
Where on social media? Where can people find you?
You know, I got to tell you, I'm not on Twitter. I don't know. I never got it. I don't know. But I mean, I'm on Facebook, but I kind of keep that private.
Right.
So I don't know, because I'm one of those dickheads that still preserve kayfabe.
Right.
I don't know. It seemed to help.
Hey, if it works, whatever works, that's what I say. I use Twitter to rile fans up, so it works for me.
Okay.
So,
good for you. Yeah.
So in that case, then they can just get your book on Amazon, right? So the name again, just so everyone gets it before I let you go. What is it?
Until We're Strangers Again.
Great.
And if you're wondering what the fuck does that mean, well, you got to read the book. So go buy it.
Go buy it and give Gorman some more money.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much for being on.
I really appreciate it. It's good to talk to the two of you.
Absolutely, man. I will see you around, I'm sure, somewhere in New England in the near future.
Okay, sounds good. Talk to you guys later.
All right, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Hello, Maria.
Hi.
Hi. What were we talking about before? Were we talking about Dreamers? I don't remember.
We were talking about Dreamers, but that's okay. We don't have to keep talking about that. That's totally fine.
I like Dreamers. He puts on a hell of a... Speaking of Dreamers, how good was that Young Bucks, Christopher Daniels, Kazarian match? Bad Influence.
It was fantastic. I cannot wait to see them wrestle this weekend.
How awesome was it? Like, it was... That crowd, there was probably, 400 people there, maybe?
Uh-huh. And, you know, it's funny because my manager came and that's the first match that he talked about was that match and just how invested he was in it. It was absolutely incredible.
Right. It was like, I don't know, like I've seen a lot of like really good Young Bucks match, but for some reason that one like stuck out. It was just wild.
Mm-hmm. It was.
And then like they finished off the match with the Nasty Boys coming out and beating up the Bucks and Bad Influence, and then Sandman came out and cleaned house. And that crowd, it felt like a rock concert.
It really did. And everybody, of course, was singing the words because everybody knows the words to that song.
Right.
And everybody's got their hand in the air and their fist pumping. It was fantastic. I love when our groups get back together like that. I really do. I love seeing all of my people that I worked with in WWE, like Carlito and Chris Masters and, even Marty and, just getting, and Candace and getting that group back together and taking that photo and having that night is just, it's like going to a high school reunion or something. It's fantastic.
That was your crew, wasn't it?
It
Masters
was.
And was that your riding crew?
I rode with Lito and Candace a lot. I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. We traveled the country together. It's incredible. Like, even if it wasn't your riding partner per se, you were all on those planes together. You were all on those tour buses going from city to city. And it really was like seeing everybody was just very, it was so nice. Like seeing everybody was so nice. And it was like taking a step back into memory lane. It was wonderful.
Is it bittersweet?
I love where I am in my life so much more right now than I did back then.
Oh, why is that? Why is that?
Oh, well, not because you're my favorite wrestling memory. Of course not, because that's Lance. So,
should I marry him instead?
Maybe you should marry him. If he's so good, maybe you should marry him.
Maybe you should marry him. You sound like Pee Wee Herman in Fruit
That's
Salad.
why I'm doing it.
Maybe you should marry it.
But like, I like what I'm doing so much better now. I get so much more satisfaction with what I'm doing right now. But that was a crazy, wonderful time of my life where we were performing in front of tens of thousands of people and we were on the road 300 days a year. It was just, it was crammed in. It was college. It was everything for a long time in my life. It was really, but it's nice to go back and to think about those things. It really is.
That was your college memory.
It was. That was my college. Now I'm going to real college, and I pay a lot more attention than I would have
And a lot
back
more
then.
money.
Well, yes and no. I do have a scholarship, and I'll probably get more. But I just, I just think that I'm going to love going to college at this point in my life so much better than I would have back then. Just because I was ready to be wild and crazy and on the road and having a good time and,
I wasn't ready to go to college when I went to college.
Yeah, I wasn't ready.
Like, I look back and think, like, if I did college now, I'd probably be so much better at it than I was then.
I think you should do college now.
I just didn't want to do it. I didn't
I know.
care. I wasn't...
I don't care.
I don't even care. I don't even care, man. I didn't want to fucking wrestle, dude. I don't want to take books. I don't need pencils. I just want to wrestle. I need a ring. Give me a ring.
That's how you still are.
Let me wrestle. Give me boots and undies. I just want to wrestle.
I think everybody should come back next week on fanoff.com/thesoundoff and listen to next week's. I don't know who our guest is going to be, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be awesome. We were going to have Michael
Everything
Elgin on.
is awesome!
We were going to have Michael Elgin on, but he's a little angry with us right now because we cut off his mullet.
Rest in peace, mullet.
Let me just say, that felt so good.
Whoa, what a voice!
It did. It felt awesome.
So good.
It was.
Oh my god.
It was. It was amazing. You know you're a wrestler if
If what?
if you think that you know everything in wrestling.
That makes you a wrestling fan, I think.
Oh, is that what it does? Oh, okay.
Because
What?
I feel like the people who are successful in wrestling never feel like they know everything.
Exactly, and that's just a lesson that I wanted to teach tonight.
Have you learned that lesson?
What?
I said, have you learned that lesson? I got the hiccups.
I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. I would never say that I know everything in wrestling, ever. Ever. Because you don't. You don't know everything. You don't know every crowd. You don't know how every person's going to react. You don't know every building or the demographic that you have in that building. And that's just the stuff having to do with the crowd. Everything that goes on in the ring, that's a totally different beast. Everything that goes on commentary, completely different beast. And I don't think that any person can ever stop learning in this business. And I think that once you stop learning in this business is when you're too full of yourself and will never be successful.
Well, you should quit.
And you should quit. Right.
If you think you know everything, you should probably quit.
Right. And I think that you should always be a student. You should always be a student of every product out there. And you should know your wrestling. And even if you can't watch it on a weekly basis because you have a job and a life and a family and a this and a that, you still have to know what's out there. And I think that definitely in wrestling, like the biggest thing to becoming great and becoming successful in wrestling and in anything is never stop learning.
Right.
And there's my little rant. There you go.
I have a rant.
Yeah?
Yeah, a good one,
What's
too.
the rant?
Okay, so today the U.S. Patent Office, have you heard this story?
No.
Okay, so today the U.S. Patent Office, which pretty much grants patents, which, gives people security on their inventions or their names or whatever, they took away the Washington Redskins patent. So
What?
It is no longer protected by the patent and copyright laws. Trademark, sorry. Thank you, Will. Will corrected me. Pretty much the debate has been going around whether the term Redskin is offensive in the NFL, because the team, the Washington Redskins, are, and for a long time have been, a football team in the NFL. Basically, I just want to say that name is so fucking offensive. And if you don't, just because you don't find this name offensive does not mean it's not offensive. I'm so sick of hearing people say like, oh, well, it's not offensive. It's been around for 50, 60, 70 years. Who the fuck cares how long it's been around for? Just because it's been around for a long time, just because your grandfather was a racist prick does not make it okay. The great thing about growing up and the world evolving and our minds evolving is that we've learned that certain things we did or used to do are no longer acceptable, because back when they did it, they didn't know any better. Now we know. And the term Redskin is offensive. The term, from what I believe, comes from scalping the heads of Indians. A lot of people believe it comes from bounty hunters who were sent out to kill Native Americans. And in order to show proof that they killed them instead of carrying the bodies, which would be too much work, they scalped their fucking heads, which looked like red fucking skin. I'm sorry, but just because you don't find it offensive does not mean it's not offensive. If I walked into your house with my buddy, and me and my buddy walked up to your mom, and I looked at your mom and I said, your mom's a slut, my buddy next to me would not be offended, but you sure would be offended. So does that make it right? No, it makes it fucking wrong, you moron. The term Redskin is offensive. I don't care what's his name, Snyder, thinks. Yes, you should change your name. I don't care. And then this argument of people saying it's the pussification of America again. No, it's not. It's the smartening up of Americans. If that's the pussification of America, then
Why? Who uses this word? Wait a minute.
You've never heard of pussification?
But who used this term?
What? Redskin or pussification? You gotta be...
Pussification of America? What?
You haven't heard that? It's like the...
No.
The idea that we're getting soft as a country because we don't raise our kids to be tough, or
and what is so wrong with that? Do we still have to go out and kill and hunt our food? No. Do we have to, go out and kill other people so that we can survive? For the most part, no. We I don't understand what's the problem with becoming more sophisticated and becoming classier as a human race and as just as humans. Like,
Right.
why is that not okay? Like, to be a
And then
good human being.
I tweeted it out today about how it's offensive, and I got so many people being like, well, some people find wrestling offensive because it's violent. You cannot compare the term redskin to fake violence. Yes, fake violence on TV. For instance, what we do is entertainment and it's fake. The term redskin singles out and alienates an entire ethnic group. So if you're going to sit here and tell me that it's the same thing, then please unfollow me on Twitter because you, my friend, are a moron.
What kind of comparison is that? Wrestling is a television show, just
Exactly.
like Fargo or Walking Dead, or it's a TV show. The term is it's slang. It's derogatory. It's like using several other words that I don't use in my vocabulary.
Yes.
That no one should use in their vocabulary. That's terrible. Just because it used to be a man, you had to fight and you had to like beat people up, and this is how you proved that you were a man, does not mean that that is okay in modern society. I hate that. To me, being a man means that you can learn and you can grow and you aren't afraid of doing things that make you less of a man. Like, what? This is crazy to me. This information is so foreign and weird to me that I don't understand how anybody could have an issue. Like, I'm
ridiculous.
sorry, you're losing your trademark and your logo, and you're losing that. I'm sorry that that's happening, but don't you feel better about yourself by not being a rude, insulting, idiotic person? Wouldn't you feel better not being insulting? Like, hello?
You know what
it makes
blows
you sound
my mind?
ignorant.
What blows my mind about this country is that we like to sit there and we like to put ourselves on a pedestal about being the most powerful country in the world, and we're more powerful than this country and we're more powerful than that, when in reality we as a country are so afraid to move forward. We're so caught up on tradition, whether it be tradition of the Second fucking Amendment or the right to fucking bear arms, or the tradition of terms we used to use, or all this stuff that we hold our hat on because it's tradition in America. Do you realize that the theory of evolution means we learn from this shit and we fucking move on and we evolve into something? We will never be the most powerful country in the world if we hold on to these fucking traditions and these old fucking things that we have. I don't understand it. Like, it just blows my mind. Like, we like to call ourselves the all-powerful United States of America, but when it comes to this stuff, we are so afraid of certain things, and I seriously don't understand it. I don't. It's so offensive.
I think right now we are in a very interesting time. And that is why our Congress and our Senate is in such turmoil right now, because there are people that are trying to move us into the modern age, and then there are others that are tea partying, trying to keep us into the 1800s or something. And folks, that's not going to work. We have to move forward. We have to modernize. We have to understand it's a global community. We have to learn how to use sustainable energy sources, because literally things are changing so quickly. In 68 years right now, they are predicting that our fossil fuels, our oil, will be gone, depleted, zero. Like, our society is changing very rapidly, and we need to make sure that we are changing with it, whether it be using proper terms or also looking at new ideas. Like, all these things are important. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck in the Stone Age. Like, literally, we are going to be stuck in the Stone Age. That's what's going to happen. We're going to go back to being cavemen. If we do not embrace the fact that the world is changing, we will be cavemen again. That's it. That's what I got.
We're already deteriorating back into that. We are. I'm sorry.
There are people that are trying to do that right now. There really are. There's Tea Partiers out there that really want us to, like, I don't know, send people back to Mexico. Did you hear this? That there is some commercial out there right now that believes that all people should speak English. What?
Hey.
How is that okay? How does that make us a melting pot? How does that, like, what? How does that make us powerful? If everybody spoke English, how in the heck would we communicate with other countries? How would we learn new ideas? Why should somebody coming in from Mexico or Italy or Spain or Greece or where my grandparents came in from, how would anybody be coming in and enriching our society if we all speak English, which is deteriorating as well. Like, it used to be this beautiful language, and it was Latin and wonderful, and now we're like, LOL. What? What is that? I hate it. I hate those. LOL. Kiss my tush, LOL. What would that be?
Kiss my tush, KMT.
Oh, God, I hate it. It's awful. All right, so there you go. More ranting. More ranting. Come back next week, and make sure you go to our Facebook page and like us. It's Mike and Maria Podcast, and that's on Facebook. So please go to facebook.com/Mike and Maria Podcast. What? Why are you laughing at me?
You're adorable.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. If you want to follow me on Twitter, because I believe in Twitter and I believe in the power of social media, you can go to Maria L. Kanellis on the Twitter. And because modernized societies spread information very quickly and they use things like Twitter, you can also go to my Facebook, which Facebook is actually falling into the ice age because of the fact that so many people have access to it and there's no regulations. But you could go there, and I have an official fan page, and it's official Maria Kanellis. And then my Instagram, which please people follow me on Instagram. I sometimes post half-naked photos. Apparently to some people that's all I can post.
You pose half-foot naked photos of me, too.
Oh, I do pose. Well, sometimes when you're killing bugs, it's really cute. And that is Maria Kanellis
I don't know
on
what
Instagram.
you're saying. You keep breaking up.
Oh no. I don't want to break up. Can we stay together?
That's... I don't know.
Oh, no.
We'll have to
maybe we'll have to get out of here.
Maybe.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Appreciate it. See you guys next week.
And I guess if you want to follow me, I can read mine, but maybe we should just go. I don't know. What do you think, Maria?
Well,
Can I
I
read
think
mine?
you sound great.
Okay. Follow me on Instagram at The Real Mike Bennett and on Twitter at Real Mike Bennett. Okay, I'm done.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Peace.
Off with my head, fell in love again. Off with my head, fell in love again. You lose your head, you lose your heart. Off with my head, fell in love again. Off with my head, fell in love again. You lose your head, you lose your heart. Fall apart.
This has been a production of fanoff.com.
And that's perfect.